Hello, hi! We are going to skip right past the fact that it's been 3 months since I uploaded a part 1. I greatly underestimated just how much time being an adult with a job 5 days a week takes up on your schedule. Help me! From this point on, the series will feature cartoon blood and minor gore, animal death, and unsettling imagery, but nothing too extreme. I want to get to draw more creepy things. Also, since this series is inspired by the Warrior books, it means that general themes that are usually discussed or touched upon on the books are going to appear in the series as well. These include animal violence, death, kitten endangerment, sickness, physical and emotional abuse, and religion mentions. So if any of those contents is triggering for you for some reason, I will try to give proper warning each time one is mentioned, but I can't promise that I'll get to cover them all. Jumping straight into Starclan, I have to pick a fight with Cat God, because what do you mean my sweet almond baby is gone already? Losing someone after a deathless year was expected, but why here? Among Us started her year like expected, being a danger to society. She offered to lead patrols, showed off sparring with Finchhope in camp, and even developed a cute friendship with Lilacbramble, going out of camp with her to gather herbs, when in reality that was just an afterthought. Almangas was actually training with Lilacbramble and teaching her the best battle moves. She could tell Lilacbramble felt a little isolated in the medicine den, like the walls were closing on around her. And the stress and bottled up frustration would pose a problem if not vented out somehow. Olivestar continued to give her pretty princess privilege, and even gave her an apprentice before she turned 20 moons old. She was way over her head with the responsibility, flaunting and taunting Finchhope for not getting an apprentice when she did, which we will get to Finchhope later. Among Us and her apprentice had a pretty good relationship. She was also constantly around Plumspeckle, seemingly showing off to her former mentor and hungry for his praise. They often took their apprentices out together, as Plumspeckle had one of Almongo's apprentices' siblings as his apprentice at the time. And it was during one of said hunting patrols with Plumspeckle that things went sour. While Plumspeckle and Almongos carried prey to a pile, they sent their apprentices in different ways to see if they could catch something on their own. They were just chatting, reminiscing about how much of a handful Almond was as an apprentice, and how dedicated her own apprentice was in comparison to her. The jokes and laughs were interrupted as an acrid sun hit the roof of Almongos' nose, alerting her to incoming danger. Almongos burst through the bushes, calling her apprentices names as they dug in a set between the roots of a tree, hoping to find prey in it. It happened so fast, like her body just moved on its own. In the blink of an eye, she jumped between her terrified apprentice and the furious wolverine that sprung from the set. She could barely process it as the beast's claws slashed across her throat in one clean swipe, and everything went black, as her terrified apprentice looked on in disbelief before turning away to run. Olivestar's year took a turn when Almongos died. Prior to that, he was having a fantastic time. He spent the first few moons with Plumspeckle, asking him for advice and help with leading the clan. The two of them came upon a berry clan patrol early on, but the berry clan cats were on the defensive. It wasn't surprising, just sad to see. Berry clan had had a horrible year the past year. Olivestar couldn't blame them for keeping their walls up. With so few warriors and no medicine cat or eligible kids in the nursery, it was no wonder they were so on edge. When Nari's kids became apprentices, he gave himself Softheart to train. Unlike Finchhope, he actually really enjoyed training him. On their first patrol, they found a loner queen seeking for somewhere safe to raise her kids, and Olivestar welcomed the mother with her kids with open paws. As summer neared its end, however, Plumspeckle would drag Almongo's lifeless body into the camp clearing, a nasty open gash in her throat. He stood in shock and let out a desperate yell shortly after, as he rushed to the body of the Molly, hoping she would move. This would just be one of her elaborate pranks. His entire world came crumbling down quickly. He sat vigil for almost an entire day until the burial couldn't be delayed any longer. He spent the rest of the year in the medicine den grieving, refusing to talk to anyone but Plumspeckle, and eating just about the bare minimum through gritted teeth upon the insistence of his deputy. Speaking of his deputy, Plumspeckle is currently in the medicine den with a new face. We'll talk about Plum first and then move on to her. This man started the year by recovering from white cough and ended up getting it again in the last moon of the year. What a king! Between those two white cough outbreaks, however, he managed to train a new apprentice, one of Almongo's apprentice little mates. He took him to the Thunderpath first and foremost, and then had to jank him by the scruff of the neck before he got flattened by a car. Really great job. No one could have seen that coming. As previously mentioned, he was in the patrol Almongo sadly died in. He followed the noise of the scuffle only to come face to face with the fleeing apprentice, drenched in blood and in shock, unable to speak. He calmed the apprentice down and chased off the Wolverine to retrieve Almongo's body. He is very sad that her apprentice passed and misses the warmth she brought to his life. But he wasted no time grieving, instead stepping up in Olivestar's paws while he took his time to process everything at his own pace. And as a result, the clan really looks up to him now. Speckle Whitecock body is Crooked, the first of many new faces you'll meet in this video. She was found near the Thunderpath with a broken bone after being barely missed by a speeding car. And as for what she's done this year, I have nothing. This poor girl is going through it. Her bone healed after 5 torturous months in the medicine den, and the first day she went outside, she had to be rushed back in as she got diagnosed with green cough. But she recovered just the next moon, so yay. Except, psych, now you have white cough. Back to the med den with you. This poor lady is just itching to be able to leave camp. She's grateful that she was welcomed in and pleasant to stay in LOTUSCLAN, but she can't help but feel like a burden. How is she going to make it up to the clan that took her in at her worst if she can't even bring back a rabbit or use the dirt place without Windstripe breathing down her neck? Plumspeckle is doing his best to keep her company and lift her mood, but she's pretty bummed out. And apart from that, Crooked hasn't done anything in the clan yet, but I'm hopeful to see more of her. Speaking of the medicine den, our old healer grandpa is messy. Remember how I said that he hates all the younger warriors? Yeah, not anymore. Late into spring, he started becoming closer with his grandson, Finchhope. He would invite him to the medicine den often and share tongues with him. Even asked him to accompany him on herb gathering patrols and sorting herbs on multiple occasions. In front of Lilacbramble. You know, his medicine cat sister. This man seems to have a gripe with Lilacbramble that I cannot describe with words in the English language. Surprisingly enough, he turned out to be not a youth-hating guy after all. At least, not by default. He became really close with the new Queen's leader, the same queen that Olivestar invited. He visited the nursery to tell them stories and let them play pretend with non-medicine herbs. And the most relevant thing that he's done this year, Windstripe had the first prophetic dream of the series. He woke up heaving from sleep as visions of a lone wolf stalking through the misty woods ran through his mind, a sly grin on its face as blood dripped from his jaws. He couldn't tell much more as the mist covered everything in sight. He doesn't know what it could mean exactly and doesn't want to jump to conclusions, so he's told Olivestar for now. But the leader is not really receptive at the moment. At the end of the year, Windstripe became overbearing with Lilacbramble upon noticing that she had been considering switching to a warrior, giving her plenty of medicine cat tasks and keeping her as busy as possible. He noticed Lilacbramble dropped the idea completely all of a sudden, and for a bit he thought it was because of his own insistence. Until a half-moon meeting, he noticed she was sitting very close to the Starclan medicine cat. Windstripe felt crossed, but something kept him from blowing up on her, even in private. Maybe it was her smile as she talked to the Tom. It was the first time he had seen her smile like that since she became his apprentice. He felt memories and dread flood his own mind as he looked at the two younger healers across the clearing. Darling Lilacbramble can't wrap her head around why his grandpa seems to despise her so much, and at first he thought that's just how he is, but it wasn't. It seemed to give her peace of mind for pretty much just 2 moons, until she noticed Finchhope, her brother, kept visiting the den and talking to Windstripe. She thought nothing of it at first, but picked up on it quickly. She felt betrayed, more so by her brother than her former mentor. But he did not have the heart to confront him. If it was her that Windstripe had gotten closer to all of a sudden, she wouldn't be happy if someone tried to take that from her. She became lonely, isolating herself for moons, distant and cross with pretty much everyone. She even started considering leaving the medicine cat life altogether, thinking that she would make a great leader someday. She sneaked out plenty while Windstripe was busy with Finchhope to vent her frustrations alone, until she was followed by Almanghost, who caught her practicing battle moves somewhat clumsily, but showing great promise with a bit of guidance in her eyes. Almanghost and Lilacbramble developed a friendship over this. They would sneak out under the pretense of gathering herbs, but spend most of the time together practicing battle moves, Lilacbramble quickly catching up to Almanghost's level. Things were beginning to look up, and then Almanghost died. Lilacbramble thought she was going crazy. She thought back to the Starclan visit she received the previous year. Were they crossed with her? Was all of her misfortune Starclan's will? With Almanghost gone, Lilacbramble couldn't bring herself to train. Something was missing. Windstripe's attention was back on her, but not in the way that she wished it had been. She doesn't know how long he knew that she had been secretly training for, but he quickly shut down all ideas of becoming a warrior. Medicine cat life was awful for Lilacbramble. She was young, she was ambitious, and she was stuck being pushed around by her grumpy old mentor. If he hated her so much, the least he could do is leave her well alone. Days passed, dull and lifeless, as Windstripe dragged Lilacbramble to the half-moon meeting in the Moon Isle, which is the place where the clans from this series meet for gatherings and to talk to Starclan. They share the same place. Upon reaching the Moon Isle, She quietly sat down beside him. She didn't even want to commune with Starclan. Why would she? They hated her just as much as her grandfather did. She was knocked out of her moping by Starclan medicine cat, Beaverbite. The young tongue was around a year older than her. He made her feel welcomed enough to bend her doubts of her Starclan to him. His response shocked her. She didn't even think someone could be so tender and understanding. Olivestar reassured her the Starclan itself wasn't bad, but they weren't always right either. They were diverse and came in all shapes and shades, since it was made by individuals. Just because one Starclan cat was crossed with her didn't mean that all of their ancestors were. Besides, he liked her well enough. She seemed like a fan cat. It should come as a shock that Lilacbramble ended up quickly developing a small crush on Beaverbite, which only got bigger with each moon. She started scooting closer to the Starclan communing stone, spent most of the meeting sitting next to him and laughing about mundane things. Suddenly she had forgotten all about becoming a warrior, and being a medicine cat didn't seem so bad. What's more, if she did become a normal warrior, she wouldn't be able to see him twice a moon anymore. And she wouldn't have an excuse to meet in the border or truck to Starclan's territory with the excuse of borrowing hers. She ended the year by proposing they form a discreet secret relationship, something Beaverbite agreed to. It's officially warrior time. We're starting with Finch since we just talked about his sister. Last year, he was all about his spite for his former mentor. It did not get any better this year. At first, he focused on himself and just enjoying time as a warrior, sparring with Pebbleecho in camp, and patrolling with cats around his age. When Softheart became Olivestar's new apprentice, however, he was less than happy. Especially since Olivestar actually paid attention to Softheart and seemed to enjoy teaching him. He tried to keep his mind off it by spending time with Windstripe, enjoying that the older cat was giving him the attention and care that he craved since kidhood. He found another reason to be grumpy when the second leader in the clan reached apprentice age, and Olivestar, of course, gave her Golden Almond Ghost an apprentice before him. On the same moon the apprentice ceremony happened, he was worried about Streambark, which was Almond Ghost's apprentice, thinking that the sudden shift in the apprentice's personality was because of her mentor's influence. He does not really like Lilacbramble and is still cross with her for taking all of Olivestar's attention. When Almond Ghost died, however, Olivestar shut himself off, and Softheart, Olivestar's apprentice, was left with no one to go on patrol with. He decided to take him out, able to tell the apprentice felt concerned. Sure enough, Softheart broke down and expressed that he felt like Olivestar had forgotten all about him once Almond Ghost died, and that he felt awful of being upset about it. He wanted to be there for his mentor, and he knew how badly Olivestar must have been feeling. He hoped he could help him, but it felt like nothing he did lifted his mentor's spirits. Finchhope heard him out with intent. Something inside his stomach turned. He was still upset at Olivestar for his neglect, but he still admired him. He had spent the entire year in awe of his leadership despite his spite, and wanted to comfort him. But how could he? He never even looked at him back then, only at Almond Ghost. What proof did he have that it would be any different now? Especially since she was the one he was grieving for. Softheart seemed to really start coming out of his quiet shell thanks to Olivestar's mentorship. He felt listened and understood, and he always respected when he needed time alone, and didn't seem bothered that he preferred little company and being in silence. He particularly appreciated when he took him towards the Tulip Stonefall, a human dawn in the territory, and sat with him in the meadow, silently watching and pointing out hummingbirds. Everything about that moment felt right, like that warm feeling of snuggling his siblings in their nursery nest early in the morning, when no cat was awake yet. He actually fell into the dam during another patrol, and Olivestar immediately jumped in and pulled him out, getting Whitecup in the process from the cold water. They both share the medicine den and recover very quickly. Only a moon after, Almongo's death happened, and his mentors seemed to just vanish from his life. He felt useless trying to cheer him up only for him to be unresponsive. He had always done so much for him, and he couldn't seem to make him feel even a little bit better. It was as if he was invisible to him. He graduated shortly after that, since he was already late compared to his siblings, and Olivestar was in no mental position to keep training him. He named him Softheart in honor of his tenderness and empathy. He spent the rest of the year honoring his very deserved name, making sure to make everyone's day a little better. The polite Finkid proved to be the troublemaker of her leader. By age 6 moons, Olivestar basically shoved her onto Pebbleecho, hoping the stricter Molly would strike some discipline onto the rambunctious apprentice. On her very first patrol, Finpaw was given Pebbleecho attitude, and Pebbleecho she wasn't having any of it, and put her in her place. Finpaw was starstruck at her mentor's conviction and attitude, if a little annoyed, and she never gave her trouble again. She was the first in her litter to graduate, becoming Finwing for her initiative and go-getter attitude. The very next moon of her being made a warrior, Almongo's died, and for some reason, Olivestar gave her the apprentice that she left behind, even though she was literally an apprentice the moon before. Everyone assumed it was because Finwing seemed to have an elder sister stance with her siblings, and she had always been good with younger cats. She did her best completed Streampaw's apprenticeship, but is kind of worried about her now. She does not really like how Streampaw turned out. And now that we've gotten to her, I can finally stop calling her Almongo's apprentice. Streambark was named in the last moon of the year, honoring her valor apparently, although I have no idea how bark represents valor. She was a troublesome kitten, liking to use her careful listener trait to collect the clan's gossip so she could stir the pot by spreading rumors of who disliked who. She was apprenticed to Almongost and immediately wanted to go out and practice fighting, itching for excitement. I'm sure it doesn't come as a surprise that she turned out bloodthirsty. Almongo's took her to an eagle's nest on her first patrol, and she had to grab her by the neck because Streampaw just lunged herself towards it, itching to pick a fight with the bird. Almongo's death hit her hard. If only she hadn't frozen up in fear, maybe she would still be here. Maybe she would have saw her graduate. She sharpened her claws and became broodier. At one point, on patrol, she, along with Plumspeckle, her brother Reedpaw, and her mentor Finwing, were ambushed by rogues. And I am not making this up. She ran ahead of the patrol and launched herself while greatly outnumbered, basically incapacitating the rogue leader and allowing the rest of the patrol to chase out the rogues and yowled a victory screech. The blame of Almongo's death and that experience seems to have awakened a bloodlust in her, because her attitude has her mentor Finwing greatly worried. Dapplewillow continues to girl boss her way into my top 3 favorite cats. I love her so much. Soon as the year started, she bluntly insulted a clanmate's appearance. I imagine by checking the relationship tab that it was Windstripe, but I have no notes on who it actually was. But, like, she has no fucks to give. She just looks at someone straight in the eye and goes, "Brother, ew." She's also officially the mentor. She honestly thought she would end up mentoring Finpaw since she was a handful. But when she was given to Pebbleecho, she was surprised that she was given insecure little Starkpaw instead, who was so nervous his sister had to nudge him forward to touch noses with Dapple. Storkid was hoping to get apprenticed to Marigoldtail instead, having followed him around while in the nursery and hiding under him for comfort, finding the soft-hearted large Tom incredibly comforting, that's redundant, and hoping that one day he would grow up to be just like him. He was a bit unsure about Dapplewillow at first, since she was known to be a cold and strict teacher to her apprentices. On their first patrol, she noted that Storkpaw was trailing behind, and she took initiative. She sat him down and cuddled him against her side, with her tail tucked around him, and told him that he could tell her everything. She wouldn't be angry. To which Storkpaw immediately admitted that he already felt like a failure compared to his eager sister and his well-adapted brother, and that her reputation as a mentor made him think that he wasn't ever going to be up to her expectations. Dapplewillow simply shook her head and licked the top of Storkpaw's head and told him that she was already plenty proud of him, just for being brave enough to address his insecurities. And oh my god, I'm crying. If anything happens to these two, I will be on the news. Dapplewillow got crinkcuffed during fall. Storkpaw threw himself twice as hard on his trainer, making sure his mentor could rest easy knowing that he would not fall behind. Olivestar seemed to notice because the same moon that she recovered, he was made a warrior alongside his sister Finwing, and received the name Storkmallow. Dapplewillow sat in the crown with pride filling her chest, giving the stork a little nudge as Olivestar called his name. They touched foreheads afterwards, Dapplewillow telling Storkmallow that he was already the best warrior in the clan for her. And the third guy in the picture is Fallowthistle, who is here because I didn't want to draw him by himself. Fallowthistle was found by Marigoldtail and Tallrapid on a border patrol. He had lived his entire life by himself in the small village near the back end of the dam, and wanted to join for a change of pace. And that's literally all I have to say, because this guy has done absolutely nothing. Like, I checked my notes multiple times and I haven't mentioned him once. He's just serving peak filler king energy. What an icon. I forgot to mention it in the last video, but Marigoldtail also ended year 1 with white cough, although he immediately recovered upon starting year 2, so it didn't really go anywhere. He and Pebbleecho kept going on patrols together, basically joined at the hip. They became even closer friends. During one of their very common patrols, they found a loner named Marsh, who came out as a trans girl a few moons into joining. They quickly adopted Marsh into their little friendship, and now we have a trio that just goes everywhere together. The trio had their eyes set on Nari's kids, thinking that it would be super cool if they all three mentored one of each kid. They were fairly confident Storkid would at least be apprenticed to Marigoldtail, since the kitten basically followed him everywhere, but in the end, only Pebbleecho got one of them as an apprentice. Marigold didn't seem to mind and is still super close with Storkmallow, who looks up to him immensely, but Marsh at the time felt a little unappreciated since she had been itching to prove herself to the clan. While the three of them, along with Finwing, were on patrol one moon, the edge of the mountain trail Marigold was standing on gave in, and he was left hanging off the cliff, but he was caught by Marsh before any disaster happened. As Marsh pulled him up, Pebbleecho loudly scolded him for being careless, to which Marigold just kinda laughed awkwardly and shrugged it off as, "Oh yeah, she's always this fired up." Later, Marigoldtail actually got one of Tallrapid's kids as an apprentice, which it just made Marsh feel so much worse. She felt really isolated. Marigold also continued to hear voices in his head this year, and I swear I don't know if this is just paranoia, but we need a therapy stat. Overall, the three of them have been getting along great. However, I did check relationship at the end of the year, and I have to point out that towards the end of the year, Pebbleecho has been throwing herself into work, trying to keep herself occupied. Marsh got sick with ring cough by the end of the year, and while she was in the medicine den, Marigoldtail and Blizzardfoot, Marigold's apprentice, spent most of their time visiting and bringing her prey and herbs so that she could recover quickly. She of course helped too, as she greatly cursed for Marsh, but she had a constant twist in her stomach, especially when she looked at his old childhood friend Marigoldtail. Could she be jealous? No, that's nonsense. It was better not to think about it anyway. At least that's what she thought. Later, Marigoldtail fell ill with yellow cough, and as of now, he is still recovering from it, and is not fully healed. Pebbleecho is finding comfort in Marsh, but she can't shake the feeling of something bugging her. Blizzard and Reed are Streambark siblings, and the rest of Tallrapid's litter. Seems that we are strictly 3-kitten litter clans so far. Like I already mentioned, Blizzard was given to Marigoldtail and nothing really remarkable happened with her. Marigold did a good job with her and she completed her training with no setbacks. Same can be said for her brother Reedpaw, who has yet to be given a warrior name at 13 months old. He had a moment of self-doubt when his siblings graduated before him, but he stayed optimistic regardless. Blizzardfoot, despite being lonesome and liking to keep to herself, has been offering Reedpaw company and support, making sure he doesn't feel lonely in the apprentice den. She's even moved her nest back to it so that they can sleep together. And finally, we get to the elders. Why did I make the limit 40 cats? Why do I hate myself? We only have 21 for now, and I already feel like my hand's gonna file a report on me. Seriously though, I don't know how I'm going to keep track of over 40 cats, because here's where I revealed that I have played ahead, and during all of the years that I played ahead, because I played a few years, I allowed the clan to grow up to 40 cats maximum, and those years are canon. So even if I don't want to draw 40 cats anymore, I don't want to rewrite the lore that I already wrote, so I guess I'm gonna just have to suck it up. But back to the elders, there's not much to say about them in general, because they don't do much in-game besides camp statuses and the occasional relationship drama. So we're gonna start with Basilnose. And right off the bat, I have no notes. Just an old man enjoying retirement and playing with the kids. He's happy to have more company in the elders den, but is generally quiet and likes to do his own thing. But he has a small crush on Windstripe? I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from. I have never seen them have a status about each other. It's just there. I have nothing else to say. Tallrapid is our newest elder. She was a warrior for a little bit. She joined with her 3 kittens when they were just 4 months old. Apparently she used to be a loner living in the mountains in an old warehouse, but rogues started roaming around, so she joined the clan so her kids would be safe. She went on a couple patrols, one of which she found and invited Fallowthistle alongside Marigoldtail. She also patrolled with her children a few times to get to know the territory as their mentors trained them. Once she felt like her kids were in good paws, she retired early. She's a troublesome Molly and likes to urge the younger cats to misbehave and have fun. Love that for this old lady. She purred loudly and proudly as Streambark and Blizzardfoot were named, and is doing her best to be there for Streambark as she comes to terms with accepting Almongo's passing and trying to get her not to blame herself too much. And finally we have Bill Bailey, which I will call Bill most of the time, who used to be a kitty pit. I haven't written this in the script, but I wanted to point out that he is a trans male, and he is named Bill Bailey, which when he joined, I was sure I have heard the name before. And yes, I have. Bill Bailey is actually a UK celebrity, and that's where I knew the name from. I personally don't know anything about the guy, I just knew that it was a celebrity name. But I find it hilarious thinking about how some guy who just likes this UK celebrity named his female cat Bill Bailey probably without even knowing that they were biologically female. I think that's very funny. As for Bill Bailey the cat, he joined at the very start of the year and immediately retired. So I twisted canon a little bit, and I took it as he wanted a safe and easy place to spend his last few years in. And his history tab pointed out that he escaped his two-leg, who didn't really treat him right. So I'm glad he found a place to be happy and relax. I am, however, worried because in the very last moon of the year, he was diagnosed with yellow cough alongside Marigoldtail, and is in quarantine with him in the medicine den. And at last, that's year 2. Good lord, this video is my Mount Olympus. Here's where I revealed that I kinda got extremely carried away, and when I said that I played a few years ahead, I meant that in-game I am currently in year 11. And I noted down every single major event, and all I'm gonna say is next year things will pick up pretty quick. So if you plan to follow the series, I hope you're excited for that. Lastly, I wanted to thank all of you. Seriously, when I posted part 1 of LOTUSCLAN, I kinda posted it because, well, I wanted to start posting again. I didn't know what to start with. And I've been obsessed with ClanGen's series of all kinds of creators, and I wanted to try because I've always loved drawing cats. And the feedback and just positive comments have been incredibly overwhelming, but in the best sense possible. I didn't expect so much interaction from an account that has been basically dormant for almost 3 years now. Seriously, guys, thank you so much for everyone who has commented and given me tips, tricks, or just has shown interest in the silly little pixel cats. I am very attached to LOTUSCLAN and honestly all of the 4 clans of its universe, and no matter how long the series goes for on YouTube, I think this clan is always going to be very important to me. I want to develop them even more, and I have detailed notes on each character, their motivations, backstory, and the part they play on the overall plot. And I am considering making an unveil page, which is a site similar to Toy House, if you're familiar with that, to put all of the world building, world elements, maps, and just every tiny detail about these silly little ClanGen cats that I can come up with, so that it's always accessible at any time. I will also include family trees, relationship charts, and everything that Unveil allows me to include with its features. As well as I will probably make a lore and territory explanation video once the Unveil site is set up, so that I can promote it. Lastly, let's go back to the video and get to the position for powers of the 4 clans, so that we can wrap this up, because good lord, this video is so long. Leadership positions haven't changed. Olivestar is still coping hard and not really interested in whatever the other clans are doing, but he seems closest with Pikestar, since we actually had two run-ins with Berry Clan this year. Goldstar is, well, they've had a year. This year, prey has been really scarce in Blazecan territory, as it's really close to the Thunderpath and the Two-Lake Village closest to the clans. Goldstar actually lost 2 lives to starvation this year. Despite being a huge jerk and enabling and encouraging violence within their warriors, they seem to care deeply about keeping their clan healthy and fed, and they always eat last, which resulted in them not getting any prey and losing 2 lives. However, no one in clan knows that, since the only person who keeps track of Goldstar's lives is their medicine cat, and you'll see what happened to him in a little bit. Cranestar is on edge and very snappy, more than usual anyway. Being a violent leader, she kept encouraging her clan to attack first and ask second, which led to a band of rogues deciding to make Starclan's life hell. They've had trouble with this particular group of rogues all year around. At one point, Starclan only had 5 cats. It doesn't help that the other clans have noticed the same warriors kept coming to gatherings and never cycling around. Goldstar specifically picked up that they're struggling and bluntly asked, to which Cranestar was forced to admit rogues had decimated the ranks through snarls. Goldstar taunted Cranestar over it, and the 2 clans are in great tension with each other, which is not helping soothe Cranestar's nerves. Pikestar, she's just trying her best. Berry Clan in general has kept to themselves this year, not wanting to risk further loss as their clan was already very small. She feels kind of awkward that the other clans are experiencing some of the travels they were forced to go through last year, but hey, her clan is no longer in shambles, so what does she care? They didn't help her last year, why should she help them? It's not like they would want her help anyway. Deputy time, Plumspeckle is still going and will probably retire next year as he's getting old. Emerald Quake, while loyal to her clan, is constantly apologizing for Goldstar's reckless and borderline rude behavior. She will never go against her leader's orders, but she's not exactly on the same page and is too insecure to speak up about it, knowing that their temper is not to be trifled with. It's better to be in Goldstar's good graces than bad. Starclan has a new deputy. Midnight Root, which I forgot to mention last year was Cranestar's mate, was killed by rogues, and keeping up with their streak of nepotism, she appointed the strict Badbloom, their only kid, as her new deputy. Badbloom also has a deep Dark Forest bond, so we'll see how that pans out. Alderdace is still the deputy of VeryClan, and he stepped up a bit. It still has his childish personality, but he is doing his best effort to support and help Pikestar, and his clan seems to really appreciate that. And finally, the Medicine Cat, since there's still no mediators, and how I'm gonna include mediators in this page when they are mediators, I don't know. That's a problem for future me. Windstripe and Lilacbramble are still here, and Beavervide is Starclan's sole Medicine Cat. He cares not a bit for his leader's bickering and tries his best to keep the warriors from being too prone to violence without outright going against Cranestar, since people who do, well, cats who do tend to end up with scars or worse. Blazecan also has no Medicine Cat? Yippee! I guess? I swear if this happens to another clan next year. Flame just died of green cough by the end of the year when a small outbreak attacked the Blaze Clan camp. And finally, VeryClan's hopes are on this little cutie's shoulders. Meet Grasspaw. She turned 6 moons in the last moon of the year, so she's still a little baby. Beaverbite and Lilacbramble secretly discuss with Pikestar about helping out with her training. Pikestar isn't sure, since she doesn't want tension with Starclan specifically, and they are very short on cats on both VeryClan and Starclan, and can risk battle and losing more warriors with rogues about. But Beaverbite insisted he would be fine, at least until Grasspaw knows the basics and can train on her own. And with that, we've reached the end of the video. That was way too long. I'm gonna go drink some water. Well, year 3 is coming sometime because this took so long to make, and year 2 is so much messier. So it might be a few uploads before that happens, or it might not. Who knows? My head works in mysterious ways. Autism, baby. I wanted to thank you guys again for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Before I go, I want to plug a few stuff. I have commissions open, which I will link below if you want to support me that way. I am saving money for con and general savings. I made a server for everything related to this channel, including LOTUSCLAN videos, maps, and just a small little community server. If you want to join it, the link will be down below. And finally, I wanted to promote my currently open map multi-animator project that is still up on my channel. We have a lot of slots left to fill, and I would really like to get it done someday. It has no deadline, it's beginner friendly, and it just has a simple set of rules. So everyone is welcome to join and just have fun at their own pace. And with that, thank you so much again. Have a great day.